Hello everybody, my name is Sophie and welcome back to another video. Either you've heard of Lightlark or you haven't. Obviously. The TikTok sensation that took the book world by storm 2 years ago, or 3. How long ago was it published? 2 years ago, and we now have the third and final installment in the series. Alex Esther has been a big name on my channel. In case you're new here, welcome. In case you're new here and you haven't read, this is the third book and you haven't read the other 2 books, you can watch my videos, I'll link them. But in case you know what's going on, that's good, because I don't really know what's going on and we need to work together to figure it out, I think. As I said, Alex Esther is a big name on this channel because she is one of my arch nemesis, one of my #1 ops. I have multiple #1 ops, so she's one of them. I'm genuinely thinking about making another kind of like revisiting the Lightlark drama 2 years later video, because I just cannot understand how this series has gotten to this point that we're going to talk about by the end of the video, and who's paying for it. If you don't know, allegedly Alex Esther's family is very wealthy, and my assumption, my personal opinion, that I don't know if it's true, it's just me speculating, is that her family is also funneling money into her marketing, because she's doing such an intense marketing on social media. She was just on Good Morning America again. Who cares? No one's getting up that early to watch you announce something about your fuck-ass book that nobody cares about, but people care about it because she's doing so much marketing for it, and it should not be at the point where it is now, because it is not good. It's not good! Surprise! Before I yap a little bit more about the book, I want to give a shout out to my members. I will put timestamps in the description in case you just want to hear the rant, but I want to talk a little bit more about Alex Esther and just the book series in general. My members get my videos a day early, and they also get to vote on what I read. They do. Sky Shade was obviously undisputable. We all knew it was coming. We were all hyped for the #1 hater to hate. They also have exclusive content such as my Ruby Red movie commentary, and they get my Eternal Peace and Love. I remember when the first Lightlark book came out. Thanks to Alex Esther, my channel is monetized, so I thank you again, Miss Astor, thank you again. And people were so mad because, if you don't remember, she was advertising scenes on her TikTok that weren't in the book. And people were like, why the fuck did you talk about it then? And she was like, well, changes were made. I was like, okay. But they were big then. Also, Lightlark is, of course, a series that she's been writing since she was 15. And she's always wanted to publish and nobody believed in her. 99 people in the room, nobody believed in her. Just one person has to believe in you. If you know, you know. One person believed in her, whoever the fuck that was, in Abrams Books, or I think the publisher is called. They also publish Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And that's, okay, that's better than this. She's made it a point to portray herself as like a rags to riches kind of vibe, where she's like a struggling debut author, which Lightlark was not her debut book. She was published before with a middle grade novel, but she kind of made it seem that that was her first book. You have to figure it out. She had a wealthy family. She had a sister that had, I don't want to lie, this is speculating. She is in some sort of involvement with Selena Gomez in Gomez. Sorry, we're not German. I am. You're maybe. She's kind of in cahoots with her in some kind of business, and like was in Forbes and shit like that. And so she allegedly comes from a rich family, which is truly how I believe that she's getting all of these opportunities and why there's so much money being funneled into her marketing. Billboards, Good Morning America. I don't know what else she does actually. I forgot. Because there's no way that Abrams Books is just spending all that money on her, because the books are just not that good. And I feel like whenever I see people talk about how much they love this series, I truly feel like they are lying. Of course, you're allowed to like whatever you like, but from an objective standpoint, I think that this series is so badly written. I don't think, and Alex Esther, again, I'm rehashing everything. I want to make another, like, revisiting the drama, as I said, but she had a bunch of things she attempted: acting, singing, no writing. That's fun. And for some reason, writing is the one you have to be at least skilled at to become popular, I guess. So she found her niche. You will see when I talk about the book and what happens in it why I think this way, and you can agree to disagree. Of course, if you like this book, that's fine. I think the only reason people really seem to like this book is because of one of the main male love interests, Grimshaw, who is not like Rayson. You cannot tell me that when she was 15, she thought, I'm gonna name him Grimshaw. She came up with that later because of race. A lot of elements of this book remind me of other books, but that could just be a coincidence. Also keep in mind that Lightlark was originally sold as a duology, and she then got the deal to make it a trilogy. And maybe she has gotten a new deal. Watch until the end to find out. I can't do this anymore. This book came out yesterday, I read it yesterday, and then I've been spending all my time today sitting like this. Thinking about what I'm gonna rate it on Goodreads. I mean, I'm gonna do it 1 star, but what I'm gonna write, because I have several options, so I haven't figured it out yet. But maybe by the time this video goes up, so follow me on Goodreads at Honestly Sophie to see and like it. Like it! Leave it a like on this video, yay! You can also follow me on Instagram at Honestly Sophie YT. I post my reading process there. And everyone who believed in me that I was gonna finish it one day, which I did, shout out. Let's get into the book. There's not that much to talk about beforehand because we're in the 3rd book. Like, we knew what the issue is with this lady. Of course, she's been doing excessive TikTok marketing before, and so all of these really beautiful quotes, whenever I read them, I couldn't take them seriously. Beautiful, in parentheses. I couldn't take them seriously because I've seen them on her TikTok, right? Like, we all been new. We all been new they were coming, and she literally advertised every single one. We pick up right after the events of the 2nd book, and I didn't reread the 2nd book. Obviously, girl, I'm busy. I didn't reread it. I didn't rewatch my own video, which you should do, of course, and watch the ads too, so I get the money back that I spent on this book. It was 10 euros on Kindle. I got it at midnight, and I think the 2nd book was 12 or 15, so they went down in the price, sis. Thank you. Thank you. And I was a little bit confused on what happened in the 2nd book because it's only been a year, or maybe even less than a year. I don't know. But I don't spend my time thinking about Alex Astor and her books as much as you think. As much as it might seem. I actually have other things to do. We pick up right after Nightshade. At the end of Nightshade, the main character Isla was fighting with Oreo, her one love interest, the boring blonde one, and Grimshaw, and they were fighting. No, who was fighting? I think, actually, I don't know. Oreo and Isla were fighting against Grimshaw, and it was revealed that Isla and Grimshaw are married. I think out of protest, I'm just gonna call him Shaw. Because I have to tell you guys, his full legal name is Grimshaw. And by the end of the book, I was like, did she even call him Grimshaw a singular time? Like, if you want to give him this fuck-ass, ugly, fuckly, dugly name, at least call him that. At least call him by that. She does it twice. This book is 420 pages. Twice she says Grimshaw. The rest of the time, it's Grim. Then why is his name Grimshaw then? Why is it? Shaw reveals they were married. As we remember, Isla had her memories deleted by him for a reason that I don't remember before she, in the 1st book, went into the Hunger Games that weren't the Hunger Games and broke the curses. And then she, in the 2nd book, like, got her memories back. And that was the entire 2nd book, just her remembering, and nothing else happened. And at the end, they fight. These books all lack plot. And we will see more of that. But I just want to make that clear. I feel like I have a lot of statements to make, and I'm afraid I will forget. Because I've already forgot half of what happened, because nothing happens. This entire 2nd book was her remembering her past life that she had before the Hunger Games with Shaw, while she is staying with Oreo at the same time. And so it's a love triangle. She loves Oreo and she also loves Shaw. And then he reveals, oh, we're actually married, which is like, okay, who gives a fuck? Like, what does that even mean? You know, marriage is meaningless. They don't pay taxes or anything. They don't have any tax benefits. It doesn't matter. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, they're married. It's a big deal. And she's like, if I go with you, Shaw, away from Oreo, will you end this battle? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I guess. And then they go together to Shaw's homeland, Nightshade, or something like that. And then they kiss. They don't. They only kiss in the end. They only kiss in the end. And do other things, if you know what I mean. Oh, this is right where we start. When she, literally the moment she returns with him to the island, is where the book starts. And so I'm gonna read out the first sentence to you so you can get a vibe check. Also the chapters have titles, which I'm against, because they're bad. They're bad. For anybody that's gonna say, Sophie, honestly, Sophie is jealous of Alex Astor's success, I could do it better. And also, I'm not striving to be a best-selling fucking New York Times ass-looking fugly-duggly author. Not saying she's fugly. That was mean. My priorities are different. I just wanna read a good book. And this is not supplying. And listen, girl, if you're watching this, Alex Astor, first of all, if you had the guts, you would send me an arc for this book and for your new book coming out in March, which I will be reading. I will be sad, because I can't wait to see how worse it gets, how much worse it gets. Second of all, I've read 3 books of yours. 3 chances. This is directly to Alex Astor. Don't scroll if you're not Alex Astor. 3 books over the span of 2 years. Too much, first of all. Second of all, no, is it too much? No, it's fine, actually. Don't worry about it. Second of all, I have given you the chance to grow. You have a team, obviously. You have money. Go get an editor that knows what they're talking about. Stop interacting with yes men who tell you that you know how to write. You do not know what a subordinate clause is. You write main clauses. In main clauses, sentence, full stop, full stop, full stop, full stop. Put a fucking comma. And when you put a comma, it's placed wrong. So, I've given you the chance to grow. And you haven't. You've only gotten worse, girl. You need a new team. You know, you need to reevaluate. This is not working. This is not working. Am I crashing out? Anyway, back to the first sentence. Isla Crown watched the man she loved disappear as the world fell away. The other man she loved gripped her arm with the desperate hope of holding onto a dream before waking. Her stomach dropped, her ears rang. Clashing swords and howling drags turned to stone. You know what the issue is? And I don't know if I should make this my review. Alex Astor has said herself, so this is not allegedly, this is something she has said herself. She does not know. No, she does know, but she just can't imagine things in her head while writing or reading. And it is 100% evident in this book that this is completely fucking true, and I don't know who told you, therefore you should be an author. There is no description. She has raven hair. She wears a long dress with black beads. That is the extent of the fucking description. There's fruit on the tree. It is orange. It is green. It is juicy. That is the way she fucking writes. I'm not exaggerating. There will be examples. And it just makes me wonder, like, who lied to you? Not everything is for everybody. You can try to be everything you want to be. But, like, if you can't imagine... I mean this, like, with peace and no, with war and hate, actually. If you can't imagine anything in your head, why do you think you can sit your ass down and write a fuck-ass fantasy book? Fantasy! Hennessy! She's publishing 2 books next... Spoiler. No, I didn't say anything. She's just publishing the romance book next year. But do you get what I mean? It's very evident that this is, like, genuinely the case, and you will probably find other people that describe this. And maybe some people aren't bothered by this. Just reading action after action, main clause after main clause. Obviously, she does sometimes use a comma and write other sentences, but for the most part, that is not how she writes. You could argue that is her writing style. It's bad. It's bad, guys. You have to use some kind of description. The description she uses is so bland and boring. She does not know how to describe things in a way that makes them interesting, that makes them vivid, because she can't imagine that her fucking self. Anyway, let's continue. This is a sentence that I think is really funny. She reflects on the fact that when she got her memories back, she remembered that she whipped out an entire village. The reason for this, I don't remember. I think she, like, activated her power or some shit, accidentally killed the whole village, and everyone in the book keeps telling her, like, by that I mean Grimm and, I mean Shaw and Oreo, which low-key I want to call him Aura. I'm gonna show you guys a clip later of an interview that Alex Astor did, and the interviewer on Good Morning America did not give a fuck about her. Like, nobody gives a fuck about this book, and she thought that the other dude was not called Oro, but Aura, and she's like, oh, for both Team Grimm and Team Aura, and it's like, that's not his name. Don't you have a fucking card in front of you that says it? Anyway, she whipped out an entire village. The 2 men keep telling her, it's fine, we love you. Except for Oreo, he's like, low-key, I don't fuck with this shit. But Grimm, of course, he's like, I forgive you for everything you have done. You are a saint in my eyes. I do not understand this, why either of them like her. We'll talk more about it, but she whipped out the entire village, okay? She goes, I'm a criminal. I'm worse than any thief or murderer. You are a murderer. Huh? Because she's reflecting on the fact that she feels so terrible that all of these people died and that she killed them. Which, low-key, like, this is one of the few instances that Alex Essa tries to have her have some internality, where she is self-aware and reflects on who she is and the emotions that she's feeling, but she rarely does this. I can tell, and it's so hard to describe for me because you know if you know. If you've read the book, you know what I mean. But I'm gonna try to put it into words for you guys, obviously. I can tell what Alex Boo Boo was trying to do and what she was thinking she was doing, but she wasn't doing it. And the thing is, like, I don't know if I could tell because I'm literate, media literate, because I read a bunch of books, or if it's obvious to everybody else. So maybe I shouldn't lean that far out of the window. Isla is a terrible main character because Alex Essa can't write. And so Isla has no internality, which means that she does not reflect on her actions. Sometimes she will go, oh, I'm a bad person, I feel sad. That's kind of the vibe. That's the whole extent of what she thinks. This is third person, but we follow Isla, obviously. And so I wonder if maybe if it had been first person, it would have been better. If this book would have been better. Because she would have been forced to explore the emotions of the main character. And now she isn't forced, and she tries to do it, but it doesn't work. Like, what do you mean I'm a criminal? I'm worse than a murderer. You are a murderer! What do you mean I'm a criminal? I feel like you should say I'm worse than a criminal. I'm a murderer. You know what I mean? Like, we get a quote from Grimm that she already teased on her TikTok, and I made fun of it already in one of my podcasts. But as I said, every time her and Grimm have a conversation, he will eventually say something very, like, randomly, deeply romantic. That's easily quotable. And so in this conversation, he goes, if waging a war from one woman is a crime, then please do consider me a criminal. Closer. If killing thousands to keep you alive is wrong, then consider me a villain. Oh, she loves the word villain. Isla's in her villain era. You have to understand that she's very much like a Swiftie and love the Swifties, right? Ren's Rep TV coming out. Right? Yeah, we're waiting for that, I guess. If killing thousands to keep you alive is wrong, then consider me a villain. She now had to tilt her head to see him clearly. Period. He leaned down, period. His breath was hot against her mouth, period. Just use, like, a singular and. Please, please. If loving you this much is my downfall, ... then consider me already on my knees. Nobody gives a fuck. Also, again, I have no idea why Shaw, like, he is thousands of... Guys, you know what the worst thing is? I don't know why she did this. We know that Isla's parents are dead. We learned why. It's funny. We know her parents are dead, and we know that her mother was a wildling and her dad was a nightshade, and she has both powers, right? And the nightshade dude, her dad, you know who he used to work for? Her father, who he used to work for. Grimshaw. Ick. What the fuck? I don't know how old he's supposed to be. I'm sure that she said it at one point in the other books, but why did you make the executive decision to make her dad work for her husband? And that was 20 years ago already, and they were together for, like, you know, a few years. That's so fucking weird. Her thinking to herself that she's a terrible person for what she has done is the entire extent of how she thinks about the situation with the village. It will come up occasionally and she will think like, I'm a terrible person, but I love killing. Why? Nobody knows, and she doesn't explore it further. Things just happen to her, she doesn't question them, or she asks very obvious questions. We will get plot points thrown at us and she does not reflect them. And so that's very interesting to me because, like, it's actually not that interesting. Also, something that was revealed in Nightshade, the second book, was that her life is bound to Grimshaw because it has something to do with the village burning, her burning the village down. Somebody was dying, people were dying. Basically, Shaw bound his life to her. And so if one of the other dies, you know, the other person dies. And I think if Isla dies, also everybody on Lightlark dies. It's they're all weirdly connected with one another. I didn't really keep up. I'm sure if there's someone who actually cares about this, a little bit more than me, you could figure out that the plot absolutely makes no sense. Like the system of the world, and that there are a bunch of plot holes, because it seems like she couldn't follow them herself, because maybe she was maybe she announced another Lightlark book, and maybe that's why she now had to drag this fucking book for the length it was, even though it should have been done by 2, because she sold it as a duology. Then she had to drag the second book into the third one, and now maybe, I'm not saying she didn't, maybe she got a 4th deal and had to drag this out. I don't get it. I don't think it's that much, or maybe it's the only commercial success that Abrams' books allegedly has besides Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I think they do a bunch of graphic novels too that are successful, but maybe this is like a huge income for them, and so they want to drag it out. I'm not sure. Alas, that's just me speculating. Let's get back to it. And she loves both of them, so she doesn't want anybody to die. And also, there was a prophecy that kind of promised her death, which I don't really remember, but she wants to change her prophecy. That's also the premise of the whole book. She wants to change the prophecy that says that she has to kill either Oreo or Shaw, and that she's going to die soon. Like, she's either gonna destroy the world or birth it anew. That's the prophecy. And also, then somehow this is like related to her dying. And I think the only way that she can survive is if she goes into the portal to the other— oh yeah! Right! They found out that there's another world where the original creators of Lightlark came from, and that they then came to this world and created Lightlark and all of the realms and blah blah blah. And so that portal is discovered, and if she goes through the portal, everybody of one realm will die. It's either Lightlark or Nightshade. One of the realms, all of the people will die. But that would mean that she would be able to live. Right? So it's kind of like the classic dilemma. Are we gonna kill a bunch of fucking peasants or Isla? Who are we gonna kill? She is now staying with Grimm, and her main goal is to figure out how to change the prophecy so she doesn't have to kill either of them, and also how she can extend her own life, right? She decides to braid her hair into a crown, comma, in the Nightshade style. As she braided her hair into a crown in the Nightshade style. Okay? Who gives a fuck about the Nightshade style? What does one thing have to do with— I don't get it. I just— sometimes you read sentences and you're just like, that was weird. I think I said this in the second book review. Whenever she describes things, it feels to me like she just— is my eyeshadow disintegrating? The cover, by the way, is like green-blue. That's why I did the eyeshadow, okay? So this is the extent of her describing things. She says, the air smelled of flesh and salt, period. It blew her hair back, revealing the black pins she'd added, period. They were tipped in black diamonds to complement her cape, period. The necklace Grimm had given her with the large glimmering black diamond was now purposefully visible against her throat, period. You use black diamond back to back, and also black the word 3 times back to back. That's a little bit bad. Can we use stone? Can we use synonyms? Apparently not. Anyway, you didn't believe me. She doesn't know what subordinate clauses are. She goes, some gasped at it, period. She heard whispers about the stone around her neck, period. It was a symbol of their marriage, period. Perhaps they hadn't believed their union was real until they saw the necklace, period. Do you get it? Sometimes when I make points in my reviews, I feel like it's not coming across as dramatic as I felt it was when I was reading it. And I was like, okay, people are gonna watch and be like, this is normal. Why are you complaining? I just feel like you could have added a little bit of like, how do English people say? Je ne sais quoi? Why do they say that? Why do they say that? You could have added something to it to make it a little bit more alive. The book feels very dead. I said in the second book review, it feels like a textbook. This one does too. Ugh, I don't know what to write as a review. Reads like a textbook? But I need to explain. I need to explain myself. Since Isla is trying to change the prophecy and do everything she can, she has to go on a lot of little itty-bitty side quests that take up an entire book. Very much, go talk to this person tells you to find this, you find this, you go to talk to another person, this person can't help you, she tells you to go to this person and talk to them, until we reach the end and it's finally over. So there were a lot of side characters. We also revisit the side characters from the second book that I absolutely have no recollection of. She was like, oh my god, Zed. I was like, who the fuck is that? We get a very obvious hint, And I'm gonna read it out so you can see how the things that are hinted at get hinted at in this book. What now? A voice dared break the silence. Isla knew of only one soldier foolish enough to speak so boldly. She found the source immediately, a hulking man who was difficult to miss. Well, that's why you found him immediately, probably. You're reiterating yourself, like, I get it. He wore armor shaped for his great stature, period. His hair was a single long patch down the center of his head, period. No one dared stand too close to him, even with his hands covered, period. It seemed no one wanted to be caught touching him, period. He was a powerful nightshade who could control a person by touching them, an ability in their realm that had become rare over the centuries, which is like, do we know him? She's writing this as if Isla had been new about this man. But he's never come up before, so how does she know? When did this occur? I can't do it, I'm sorry. This dude later tries to kill her and she kills him, so this is the kind of foreshadowing that you get. This man, this random weird soldier is speaking up. What's he gonna do later? Everyone's displeased with her being there. They all think that she's a traitor and is gonna kill them all. And so nobody likes her being there. Ooh, I wonder what's gonna happen. I'm not wondering. For some reason, and I can also only guess that this is because she remembered that she had destroyed an entire village and so she feels like she can't control her power. But this is me speculating because we're not giving this explanation by Isla. She just kind of is like in her head thinking, oh my god, I have so much power, I should get rid of it, I can't control myself. So she visits a blacksmith, right? And I'm saying like, this is probably based on the fact that she destroyed the entire village, but that's not the reason we're given. We're given no reason. She's just like, I should get rid of my power. She goes and she visits the blacksmith. There's one singular blacksmith in this entire book who can just do whatever, he can do whatever. She's like, I will kill you, because he really wants to die, if you make me bracelets that make it so I don't have, like, I can't use my power. And so he does, because he thinks it's a good trade. She also can't take them off herself. Only the person that put them on can take them off, and I'm confused why she would think that this blacksmith would, like, keep true to his word, that he would just take them off again if she asked. He does, without arguing, but it's like, why? Why do you trust this random dude? Also, she remembers that she used to have a baby dragon. And like in her memories, she remembers she used to have a baby dragon. She has a leopard, and that's her bonded animal because they get animal sidekicks. That leopard is not really relevant. She rides on his back a few times and he growls and whatever, but we don't care. There's a dragon. This dragon is also just a plot device. She remembers that the dragon used to be a baby, but she hadn't seen it in like a few months. And then when she is in Shaw's land for a few weeks, she remembers this dragon, which she had remembered previously, but she's just now like, oh my god, there used to be this animal that I love, like, where is it? She goes to look for it, she can't find it, and she's like, she asks Shaw, she's like, where's the dragon? He goes, well, do you fucking think he's still here? He's outside, he's a fucking dragon. When she had the dragon, he was a baby, and so she was assuming that the dragon was still a baby, but he's not a baby anymore, he's fully grown, as animals tend to do. I thought she was the fucking wildling ruler. I thought she knew things like that. She doesn't. She doesn't know anything. What does she know? They fly around a little bit. It turns out Oro has bonded with this dragon. They are now bestie babes. This dragon is, of course, put into this book. Presumably, I'm just alleging this because of Wolfwing, because I cannot imagine that she was... Like, where are the other dragons? Where are the other dragons? Like, what is the lore behind this dragon? There is no lore. That's another thing. The thing that's explained only is Lightlark and how it came to be. But I imagine that that was a while ago, so there must be different cultures, but different people there. Oh my god, you know the black gay man from the first book who was her bestie babe? She visits him once and never again. This man is in there for the quota and the quota alone. I felt like he was going to have a bigger role in this book, but if you were wondering, he doesn't. She visits him, I think this is close, actually no, I'm going to talk about it later, but she visits him and she gets something from him and then they never speak again. She thinks about him like once or twice, but she never goes to visit him, her bestie babe. Her bestie babe. She doesn't have any friends. Like, she doesn't have that many options. I think, like, a black gay man is what I wanted to say. Ooh. I feel like that would be a good option to start, like, with that, because he's been really nice to her from the first book. But it does not seem like she really fucks with... Is she racist and homophobic? Ooh, we're getting to the bottom of this. They fly around on the dragon for a little bit. She doesn't really like flying. She keeps reiterating that she doesn't like flying. And so, at the end... there's a big battle, of course, as every fantasy book should have a big battle at the end. And she flies around herself because she also has the ability, because I don't remember, but she can fly. But she never used to do it because she hated flying. And as far as I'm concerned, that feeling never changed, but she just starts doing it with no thought behind it. Yet again, another example of like, you made this a character's personality trait that she doesn't like flying. She doesn't feel comfortable flying. Okay, so then when she is later forced to fly on her own during like a storm in a battle, she could take the moment to be like, Isla didn't like flying, but she would do it to save her people. Or are we not exploring this further? We're not. Sorry. Everything that happens is really fast-paced, in my opinion. I read this book in a day, as I said, which is true. If anybody here accuses me of lying, I will find out where you live. That was a joke, by the way. I don't really care, but I did read it in a day. And I did read the... Sorry. The Fall of the Wings sequel, whatever the fuck that was called. I also read that in 2 days. There was a few more pages. And I was really impressed with myself, because usually I always take so long to read books. But I think that her writing without any subordinate clauses really made it easy. And sometimes I do have to say, throughout the book I would skip some pages, I have to say, because again, the entire book is her going from one person to the next to find something out, and then she goes to the next person to find a relic, she goes to the next person to get something, and it's, I don't know what you would call this, but it was evident that there was going to be like something big happening by the end. It also wasn't written as if this was the last book for some reason, and so I was not really invested in who was going to die of the men, because at no point, even though the stake you have to keep in mind is she's either gonna break the world or make it anew, right? That's the stake. Like she's gonna kill one of them and she's gonna destroy the world, but it never felt like that. And then she like spends weeks doing something random, and it's like, how do you have the time to be doing this right now? I thought I thought you were dying. I thought you were dying and you're like chilling, drinking hot chocolate somewhere with this man that I don't care about. It's very weird, and she does not know how, not that I know, but she's the author, not me, know how to make it feel like there is impending doom on this world, because maybe if she had some internality, am I even saying that correctly? It would be able to feel like a little bit more high stakes is what I'm trying to say, but it's very fast paced. It feels that way because we get presented with a problem in one chapter, and in the next chapter it gets resolved. Most of the problems that the main character has don't drag throughout the book. It's always an immediate resolve to them. And so I was always like, okay, so next chapter she's gonna figure it out. Next chapter, you know what I mean? And so there was a lot of little side quests that were leading to nothing. I think because of that, I was feeling like I was not progressing in the story at all, because I wasn't. Like, there's supposedly months passing. It didn't feel like that because she would just skip times, and I feel like the important things she would just skip because she didn't know how to write them. She just really wanted to write them having a snowball fight. Am I reading the fucking novella from Ekota? The fuck-ass novella nobody gives a fuck about? So one of the main issues of this book is that in Nightshade, or it's not called Nightshade. Is it called Nightshade? Night, whatever, the night court. In the night court, there's a bunch of storms happening. It's storm season. Winter means it's storm season, and they've been happening far more frequently, and they're really dangerous and killing everybody. And so they have to find a way to make the storms stop, right? This is the reason she goes to the gay black man, because he is the president of the... Who is he the president of? He's the prime minister, president, king, of the Democratic Republic of Skylings, I think, because he can fly, so that would make sense. And he gives her a ring where he's like, here within this ring you can trap a storm, and then it will lead you to its origin. Because she thinks there must be a portal, or maybe she gets told this, there must be a portal where these storms are coming through and originating from. And so if she catches a storm in her ring, she can release a storm again, and then it will return to its source, and she can track the storm. But now I'm getting ahead of myself. But that's the reason she visits him, and then never again. Literally. It's so funny to me, because why do we have this cast of so many characters, and she introduces so many new people in this book also, like side characters, and none of them matter. None of them matter! I don't even know when the whole storm thing happens. I'm trying to figure it out right now because I have a few things marked that I would like to read out to you guys, that I would like to present to the class. Anyway, I can read it out to you. Basically, she does figure out that she can, or she does manage, I mean, to trap a storm in the ring, and then she loses the ring. Like, at the same time. She drops it off the dragon! That option is now over, okay? Just so you know that that was a side plot that was going on. That's not how she can figure out where the portals are coming, or where the portal is. They can't locate it. She pretends like this is her main motive because she doesn't really tell anybody about the prophecy of her killing either Oreo or Shaw, and that she's going to die. No one knows this because she doesn't have any friends. I think she does tell Azul, which is the black president, but maybe he's Obama. Should I refer to, I don't have to refer to him as that because he doesn't come up again. Some interesting lines. Again, this is the whole internality of Isla. Fury battled within Isla, period. She wished for her powers so she could tear the ship to pieces, so she could shatter the sky and sea like a storm. It was this dangerous anger, this serpent within her, always ready to strike. That was why, like, that was why she needed to keep the bracelets on. She knew that, yet still yearned for her power so she could paint the sky the shade of her endless rage. She was visiting the other president that's still alive. Her name is Cleo. I don't remember what her realm is called. To visit the Oracle because she wants to change the prophecy, blah, blah, blah. And so Cleo is like, I killed all of the fucking oracles. And so she figures out there must be another way. There used to be a prophet. Okay, we're getting religious. There used to be a prophet, he's now dead, but he has followers that are still alive that still preach his word. And so she wants to go visit those people to figure out when she's gonna die. That's like her main issue right now. Like she needs to know a date. She needs to know a date when she's gonna die so she knows how much time she has. She tells Shaw that she wants to visit these people, and he tells her, okay, we can do that. And she's like, no, I'm gonna do it alone. He's like, no, we're gonna do it together because it's a very dangerous climb. This climb takes up 2% of the book. It is supposed to be like super dangerous. She teases them dying. This is literally 100 pages. No, I'm lying. This is 68 pages into the book. She teases them dying. And I'm like, girl, are we really trying to do this right now? Are we really trying? You're telling me 68 pages into the book they're gonna die? Sorry? The stakes are so low. He takes her with him on the fucking climb to the mountain. Through a mountain, they have to like, there's like dangerous animals and creatures in there, and they have to kill them, and they don't have any power in the mountain. That's so dangerous. But she doesn't have any anyway because she has the bracelets on. Before they almost drown, she goes and says to Shaw, out for some reason that I forgot, she goes, I wish you'd never loved me. I wish I hadn't given myself to you like a fool. I wish I hadn't let you betray me and lie to me and manipulate me, and I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. And I would throw this damn necklace into the sea if I could, because she has this necklace on because they are married and she can't take it off. And then it's like, she instantly regretted her words, but why? She had meant them, hadn't she? And then they're about to die and be drowned, and she goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he goes, I know. And then he just forgives her. The thing is, this man is so down bad for Isla, and I have no idea why. It's super unrealistic because she's not done anything worthwhile besides break the curses, and that, like, I don't even remember that. She isn't as great as Alex Esther wants her to be. I would go as far as say this is a self-insert, you know, as we normally have, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not, I don't like Isla, nobody does. And so it's even weirder that two ancient, powerful men want her. Why? And then she tells him things like this, and then she's like, oh, I'm sorry, by the way. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Like, you can say whatever you want. I will always want to be with you. He tells her, you can kill whoever you like. I will always want to be with you. I love you. You can kill all of my people. All of my fucking, you know, people that live in my fucking realm. I wouldn't care. I would still love you, bitch. Get up. What? This is, why? After almost drowning, of course, they have to cuddle because of body heat, and they get a little closer, you know, even though they still hate each other, or she hates him, but she doesn't. She makes it to the prophets, and I revisited Nightbane. Oh, that's what it's called, Nightbane. Ugh. Right. The second book, and in there it did say that the Oracle did tell her she was either gonna kill Oreo or Shaw, and through their hearts. So that's true, but this prophet follower says, only that you will plunge a blade into another powerful heart, and it will mark the start of a new age. So this person isn't saying like you will kill Oreo or Shaw, just another powerful heart, okay? Keep that in mind. And also, you don't have to keep it in mind, like, it doesn't come up again, actually, forget it. It will mark the start of a new age, so that's the full extent of what this prophet is saying. So either one of them is lying, or she forgot. Powerful heart could be anybody. So is this another prophecy? Or is it gonna be like, if there's maybe another book, it's gonna be like, prank, you don't have to kill them, just another powerful person. I'm not sure. Then the prophet followers, because he's dead, tell her, one of your own betrays you, one of your own has already struck against you. And then it's like, we know like 3 wildling people. Who could it be? It's not one of them. It's not any of them, actually. But it's like, this is the kind of thing where you would reflect, no? Like, they're like, you have to follow the snakes. You have to follow the snakes. And she does, and then she follows the snakes to one person, and she's like, oh, that can't be it. That can't be them. They're too nice. Okay. I also think that the reason she has these bracelets on is because she is able to tell when somebody is lying because of Oreo, because he loves her. She can use his abilities, and he can tell when people are lying. And so a lot of things within this book would have been resolved if she had that ability for the beginning part of this book. Because later, obviously, she takes the bracelets off, but for right now, she has them on and can't use her power. And so she can tell if people are lying. And then later, she does take them off and use that power. So it's like, that could literally resolve everything that you've ever dreamed about and asked yourself, which isn't much. Oh yeah, when she meets with Obama, he also tells her a big bad storm to end all of the storms is coming. I forgot that. And that's it. That's all he does. Thanks, though. Thanks for telling us. Bye. She also finds out now, because she goes back to her island to figure out who the traitor is, right? That all of the Nightbane, which is the flower that makes healing elixir, has been destroyed. Oh my god. That's when she follows the snakes and meets the person with the snakes, so I don't remember who that is, so forget about her. She's playing with the snakes, and then she's like, it can't be them because she's too nice. Like, they're too nice, they can't be the traitor. And then that person's like, here, you can have a snake. And she's like, okay, I'll take it. And then she just walks around with a fucking snake. Huh? She then decides to ask randomly, 100 pages in. This conversation comes out of the blue. A question snagged in her mind. She couldn't believe she had never asked it before. Me neither. Me neither. You just remembered, Alex asked her. Scroll if you're not asked her. You just remembered that she had never asked this before, right? She goes, do I have any surviving family? And then Grimm is like, yeah. And she goes, who? And he goes, a cousin. Nice. Her cousin is Grimm's new general that took the role after her father died. And they don't like each other, but she then, after finding this out, completely goes into this weird mind state of family blood is thicker than water. You know what I mean? It's like, she goes hardcore, like, I will die for my family. It's like, you and this bitch don't like each other. They kind of start joking with one another and getting closer. But it's really weird because she's never made it a big deal before. And now she's like, I can't believe you never told me I had family. Later on, this becomes even more relevant. I can't believe you kept this from me that I have family. It's like, okay, what did you want to do? Have a reunion? Have a picnic? What were you gonna do about it? Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? It's like, it's literally not that deep. It's not that deep. Especially when you find out who the family is, okay? Chill out. She visits another person now because, of course, she has to visit one person, she has to visit another person. It's an ogre. An ogre! It's Shrek. No, he can see the future, or something. I don't really know. Basically, he needs hearts, and then he drains the hearts of blood, and then if you give him enough hearts, he will give you information. She kind of goes into alleys in like a random village and kills a bunch of bad dudes that are like all hurting women and stuff like that. Then she's like, oh, I relish in killing them. Like something inside me is like, ooh. I don't care. It's like supposed to be the villain arrow, right? That she enjoys killing people. But realistically, like, do we give a fuck? Do we give a fuck? No! Period. And then this dude drags her down to the bottom of the blood pool that he has to show her that her blood is powerful or something. And he tells her, in your current state, you will not last past the storm season. So not past the winter. She won't survive the winter. And I don't really know what she's gonna do with this information. The only way of her surviving is going through the portal, but she doesn't want to do because then a bunch of people are gonna die. Again, I don't remember exactly and I don't give a fuck. But in this conversation, and I don't know if anyone else caught on to this, let me get comfortable. Something happens that I want to like explore with you guys and discuss. I will read it out to you. These are 2 paragraphs, and you can tell me if you notice, okay? An invisible grip clutched her ankle, forcing her to the bottom of the pool. She kicked, but her foot didn't hit anything solid. Her mouth opened with a silent scream, filling with blood. I shouldn't have come. She reached toward her necklace, but before she could touch the stone, spectral ties seized both of her wrists too. I shouldn't have come. Do not come. This is not written in like bold italics or anything. This is normal in the paragraph. I shouldn't have come. Did this woman, Alex Esther, boo-boo, my boo-boo, did she write this book in first person? Or do you think she wrote this book in first person and then changed it later? Or do you think this was genuinely like this slipped her mind? That she accidentally wrote I shouldn't have come instead of she shouldn't have come? That she just didn't notice. Like she was, why did she write I shouldn't have come? Or do you think it was supposed to be in bold italics? But I don't think so because she doesn't utilize that in this book at all. She doesn't ever like write like that to make it clear that this is the internal dialogue that Isla has. So that falls away, that option. I thought it was really interesting. I was like, huh, I shouldn't have come. Self-insert, bitch. Oh. I'm kidding. But it made me wonder because I mentioned earlier I think this book would have been better if it would have been first person. Because then she would have been forced to write more exploration of inner emotions. I don't know, guys. You let me know what you think about that if you noticed when I read it out. But I don't know if she did it again in the book or if this is the only time it happened. But I thought it was interesting. Then the dude that I mentioned earlier, the random side character that was pointed out of all of the other side characters with the abilities, she ends up killing him. I'm not sure what this is supposed to prove, whether it's supposed to prove that she's like ruthless or that people just in the court don't trust her. Like this is supposed to symbolize it even more. But at the end of the day, can I say something like, we don't care. And I think it was clear from the way she was writing before that the people in the court did not trust her because they thought she was like a spy for Lightlark, right? And also, if you haven't noticed, up until this point, I have not mentioned Oreo again, except when talking about like the context of everything. And you know why? Because she doesn't think about him at all. This is supposed to be a love triangle. This is the main selling point of this story, that her heart is split in two. She loves Oreo and Shaw. No, she doesn't. She does not fuck with Oreo. The fact that there are actually people out... Sorry, too much skin. The fact that there are actually people out here who try to tell you they are Team Oreo, like, okay, I'm gonna believe you, but I don't really. Because, like, why are you Team Oreo? And also, do you think you're better than everybody? I'm kidding. She never markets Oreo, or maybe she does and I just don't see it. There are page overlays with just Isla and Shaw. It doesn't make sense for her to keep dragging this out, and I think people are getting really tired of it because, especially in this book, already in the last book, but in this book especially, it's so evident that I think she's just not skilled enough to write it. I'm gonna be honest. I think that Alex Esther, in my opinion, is not a skilled writer at all. She's a very juvenile writer. Maybe she should stick to middle grade or children's books. I don't know. She's very matter of fact in her writing, and I think that doesn't make for good writing. She's not very flowery with prose and everything. She seems to not know what she wants to do. Like, I feel like she doesn't know what she wants to do and what she's supposed to do now because she has to drag the story out into another book allegedly. Oh yes, guys, okay. I want to give it up. I wanted to do a little skit at the end where I was like, there's another book. But yes, she announced 2 more books, which I think that only one of them is going to be a continuation of the series and the other is going to be like a novella or something. I think it's just a quartet now. It's not a 5-book series because she said both of them are coming out next year. But that is the interview where the interviewer said, Team Aura.
So I can reveal that this is not the last book in the series, and there's not just one new Lightlark book coming out next year. There are 2 new Lightlark books coming out next year. One is a direct continuation of the series, and one is a very special book that I think both Team Grimm and Team Aura will be very excited about.
Oh, Team Grimm and Team Aura. That's big.
Yeah.
What is his name? Good Morning America. I bet she's paying a lot of money to be there. You know what I mean? To fill that time slot. And they can't even pronounce her characters right. That would drive me nuts. People have argued that they think this book should have just stayed a trilogy because now this book feels like so pointless. And I think it would have done as a duology, honestly. There was no need for 2 books in between. You could have made it like 600 pages. I don't know how long Lightbane was or Lightlark was. I think they were both around 400 pages. Could have made the second book 600 pages and then just put it all in there, because it really feels like she was just trying to come up with shit to fill the pages to get to the end point, and it could have been left out easily or like conceded. It could have been more concise. One thing I want to say before we talk more about the scene where she which isn't really relevant, but where she beheads the dude. Shaw makes her hot chocolate and it says, he carried it over to her, and in her happiness, in her anticipation, she slipped her fingers over his around the mug. Together they held it. Together they brought it to her lips. I have a mug here. Oh. I'm so confused. He's carrying, I imagine, because she slips her finger through it, he's carrying it like this. Right? Because it couldn't be like this, because then she would have to do like this. And that wouldn't be anticipatory. I think it's like this. This is small, so sorry. She slips it through like this, and he has it like this. And so her hand comes in and is like this over it. And then they both train together, but I would imagine that would be so uncomfortable for him to go like this. Like stretching out, like that's just not cute to me. Anyway. Nitpicking. After beheading the dude that tried to kill her in her sleep, she decides to make a show out of this to like make an example out of him, and it says, thin poisonous snakes curled around her waist, sliding up and across her chest, keeping her decent, slithering. Oh, she's naked? 2 more wrapped around each of her arms. They hiss at the closest nobles as she passed them by, making one stumble onto the floor. The thinnest snake of all curled around her neck like another necklace. And then she makes the snakes eat his head in front of all of these people to be like, you gotta respect me, bitch. And it's like, you're gonna be like, okay, whatever. You mentioned she had a snake earlier when she went to the wildling world, like she got a snake. Yeah, but she didn't get 50. I don't know where all of these snakes came from. Because I imagine if you beheaded this dude, then you immediately make a show out of it, because then otherwise, like, you would have to sleep with, like, and then wait until the morning. Like, I imagine she got all of them together, she woke all the people up and was like, you better not do this again. She immediately had to get these snakes from somewhere. Where? Did the bitch from the Wildling Realm give them to you? You had to wake her up for this? Whose idea was this? Would a head not have been sufficient enough for this display? Apparently not. She then bonds with her cousin, and this is how the conversation goes. That was quite the display. Isla stopped brushing Lynx's fur, which is her leopard, to find Astria standing behind her, posture straight as ever, donning those curved crossed swords on her chest. Thank you, Isla said. I was sick afterward, but it's the show that counts, right? Uh-huh. It's the show that counts, right? I was so sick afterwards. Like, okay, are you bloodthirsty or are you not then? Do you want to kill people or do you not want to kill people? Did you guys see the sun going down while me filming this? Okay, it's daylight saving. It's okay. It's not that late. It's okay. It's dark! And it's only 5 p.m. Stop daylight saving. I thought this line was so cringe. I don't know how old Alex Esther is. I forgot. Maybe she is a millennial, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she is, which being a millennial is not a bad thing because sometimes people complain in my comments. I'm just pointing it out that that line is cringe. And like, what the fuck do you mean? She, in the first book, killed her best friend that was pretending to be nice, but she was actually evil. Her name was Aurora. If you remember that character, then good for you, because I didn't. And basically, she has something from her, which is a feather, and she feels like the feather must be magical, and so she rides onto the onto some book with the feather, and she's like, she writes her name, and then the feather responds with, "Hello, Isla." And then she's like, oh my god, it's moving on its own. Kind of like, it's not like Harry Potter, but it's kind of like Harry Potter, if you know what I mean. And then she has conversations with this book, but not right now. Like, she figures out that the feather responded to her writing on the paper, and then she just kind of forgets about it for the next 20% and doesn't utilize this, which is kind of weird to me, because it's like, wouldn't you immediately go to this piece of paper and start writing it and be like, what the fuck is going on? She has other problems, I guess. She thinks that Aurora is helping her because she has this side quest where she's trying to find runes, and those runes are from the other world and were used to channel power in the other world, and they're really dangerous, and there's a price to pay when you use runes. And she's like, okay, this is like a way to save this world and whatever, and I'm gonna die anyway. I'm gonna sacrifice myself for Lightlark and everyone in this world to redeem myself because I killed people in a village. Probably my favorite scene happens like 150 pages into the book. As I mentioned, she has not thought about Oro for those 150 pages. Sometimes she does, honestly. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Sometimes she does. But she only thinks about him in the context of, oh, I love both of them. But she's never like, because keep in mind, she has this star stick. Oh my god. Her traveling device that makes it so she can teleport. And she could teleport into Lightlark at any given moment. She could go back to him at any given moment. Like in the middle of the night, she could visit him. Because obviously, then Grim would think she was a traitor. And the people in Lightlark think she is a traitor to Nightshade. Like, nobody likes her besides Oro and Shaw. But she could do it. That is the point I'm trying to make. Like, she could if she really wanted to. So, at this point, she hasn't done it because she doesn't want to. She doesn't fuck with Oro. What am I supposed to tell you guys? Like, she doesn't fuck with him. This love triangle is non-existent. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, there is knocking on the window. And it is Oreo. And she goes, "You flew across the world to make sure I was okay?" Oh my god. He flew across the world. And she goes, "It must have taken days." For multiple days. He flew into enemy territory to make sure she's okay, and she's been not thinking about him at all. I don't get why he likes her. I don't get why Grim likes her. I don't get why he likes her. But I thought this line was so funny where she was like, "You flew across the world to make sure I was okay?" Just so that everybody who was reading this book knew, like all the people who liked Oro knew he flew across the world. And so they could make TikToks being like, or she could make a TikTok being like, when he flies across the world to make sure she's okay. You know, it's so TikTok-esque, it's so funny. Right when he arrives, there's another storm coming, which is just not that good, so he has to stay behind. He literally arrives and she leaves him in the room, and she's like, don't, just stay here. Like, don't even fuck with me right now. Actually, I think this is the storm where she loses the ring. I told you earlier, right? As we know, Alex Esther is known for amazing metaphors or descriptions. And she goes, she tasted power on her tongue, like metal in her mouth, like blood. Okay. Heh. I just realized how long we've been going. I'm not even 50% done. And I want to cry. I want to cry. I'm going to speed it up, guys, okay? I'm going to speed it up. I can do that. After the storm, where she loses the ring, she returns to Oreo, who is still in her room. There's a bunch of daggers full of blood in her room, and she goes, "I used those to kill people." Okay. He met her eyes. They narrowed because he knew she was telling the truth. She didn't drop his gaze. "I put the knife through their hearts, and I enjoy it. I roam the streets at night, looking for people to kill. I smile at the life as the life leaves their eyes." Sure. She goes on this tangent explaining to him that she's evil now. And he's like, "That's not you. You're not evil. I know you." And she's like, "No, you don't know me. You could never know me." And then she portals him back to his island, which she could have done the entire fucking time, as I mentioned earlier, but she never does. He flew across the fucking world to see her. She didn't even use one brain cell to see him. When she takes him back, she gets shot. Because she gets caught by one of the dudes from the second book that I don't remember. And then Shaw says to her, "Who did this to you?" We're 3 books in, girl. It's getting old. They have another wedding to kind of prove that they love each other. After this wedding, for like 2 weeks straight, all they do is fuck, by the way. Keep that in mind. The way this wedding is described is, he broke into a smile period, people whispered period. They seemed unnerved by it period. She wondered if his people had ever seen him smile, period. He reached out his hand, period. She took it, period. Again, they fuck for 2 weeks straight, if you're wondering how explicit it is, because this is a YA book. I need to back up a little. It is definitely penetrative, multiple times, like two times or 3 times, but it's not like using words like cock. She also doesn't use the word breast, she only uses chest. So I'm really excited to see her romance book that's coming out next year, if it's gonna be explicit. I can't wait, because this is terrible. Basically, she goes, one hand gripped her hip bone, thumb making broad strokes across the thin fabric, comma, inching toward the center of her knee. And it's like, his thumb? Whose thumb? Thumb making broad strokes. Who is thumb? And then it goes, his other strap down her spine. His other what? Thumb? Hand? Foot? And we get this amazing scene that I also posted in my Insta story that is, for some reason, now necessary in all fucking romanticies or fantasy books that I read. She's talking to her cousin and she goes, romance? Ayla asked, her interest peaked. She and Aurora used to trade books, but their selection had been limited. There's romance in this library? Her cousin says the main characters are all tall, dark-haired, broody, powerful. It's ridiculous how many women are in love with him. And it's like, oh my god, all of these books are about Shaw. And so it's like, oh my god, romance? People read smut books in this fantasy world? We get it. It's like, it's not even... I think when people first start, like authors first started writing like that, where they were like, yeah, the main character reads smut too. It was like, hee hee hee. But now it's like, okay, we get it. Like, it's been done before. We don't care. Every single sentence in this book, for some reason, starts with the word she. And someone messaged me on Instagram, I saw, and said, why the fuck does every sentence on this page start with she? And I'm glad that you noticed that too, because I did too. And I was like, maybe I'm being delusional. Like, there are only so many words she can start her sentences with. But it's an excessive amount of just she, back to back to back. And it's like, there are other words. Use them. I would have gotten punched in the fucking face in high school. In my German high school. If I had started every sentence in my essay with she, or they, or her, or I, or you know what I mean? Like, words like that. Pronouns. For somebody that didn't have anything to say about this book, that seems low-key excessive. I wanted to save the document under SS for Sky Shade. Shouldn't do that. I'm only going to talk about the things that are marked because at the end of the day, this is all leading up to the big reveal at the end. That's not even that big. They figured this out like 70% in, and I was like, isn't this the big reveal? Why are we only 70% in? What else is going to happen? And the answer was nothing. Anyway, she, as I mentioned earlier, went to visit this one dude that told her when she was going to die, and he wanted the hearts. And so the hearts she's been getting, there was a lady who has been following her, watching her, because she saved her from one of the dudes that she killed. That lady ends up poisoning her because she is a fanatic that follows the prophet, and they make Ayla kill them. It's very interesting because she doesn't ask any follow-up questions. Basically, these people are like, it's written that you have to kill us and we have to sacrifice us for you. And she's like, okay, I don't want to kill you. And then they all kind of force her hand, like walk into her blade and stuff like that. And then she just goes home and takes a nap and doesn't think about this again, about this incident. Heh? This woman had for several chapters pretended to be like not knowing who Ayla was and her friend, in a sense. And now that lady is dead, she killed her. She was a fanatic follower of the prophet, and she doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't think about this again. I'm serious. I feel like, and this isn't confirmed, but maybe Ayla's power, like, she gets stronger as she kills people, is what I'm thinking. Maybe it is also confirmed in this book, could also be, and I just didn't read it, but I think that's why. Like, that's my reason why those people made her kill them, because it's like, they're giving her more power and they're following the prophet who was like, she's gonna change the world, so they're helping her in a sense, you know? Anyway, that happens, she doesn't think about this again, no internality. Then, she locks up her 2 bestie babes from the first book that trained her, because she thinks that those are the 2 bestie babes that betrayed her, you know? When someone told her that there was a traitor and she was like, I only know 3 people, 1 person couldn't be it, so it has to be these 2. And they're like, no, it's not us. And she's like, I don't care. Because she's not using her ability to tell if they're lying. And so she just looks them up and doesn't think about them again until like 20% later. Doesn't visit them. doesn't think about her decision, doesn't evaluate it, nothing. She just does it and is done with it. So she's not impacted by it at all. 50% into the book, she is finally ready to go to her dad's room in the castle that still exists. She hasn't done this before. She goes to visit it. I think her dad, Loki, was autistic, and I mean this with peace and love, because he seemed to have an odd interest in maps. Like a really like hyperfixation on maps. Because I think he wasn't that strong ability-wise, allegedly, and so for some reason he was really into maps, and he had like a lot of maps and was drawing them and like collecting them, and it's cute. She finds a map, and apparently there is unknown land marked on it, and she finds a huge unmarked island that's called Isla. And it says its name was Isla. And she goes, it had to be a coincidence. Her name meant island. Perhaps it didn't mean anything at all. But what if it did? Giving very much social support department. Giving very much, do these people know Spanish? She teleports to this island and like unleashes her power there, finds a bunch of fruit, eats it, donates it, great. It later turns out that this was an island that her dad like kind of Loki created. I have no idea, actually I skipped over it. Loki created for her mom because it has all of like the favorite animals and fruits her mom liked. What? I don't know. I have no idea. And also like, couldn't he have just named it Isla because he liked the name Isla? And then you were born and so you were named Isla? Can people not like names before the baby is born? I'm not sure. She visits some place with Grimm who has a tragic backstory and they just fuck. That's true. He takes her to a winter village, as I mentioned earlier. They drink hot chocolate, very Ekotar-esque. They have a snowball fight where she can unleash her power, and he's not afraid of her the way that Oro was earlier when she told him, I have these daggers and I kill people. And he's like, no, that's not you. On the contrary, Grimm is like, no, I love you for you. You can kill whoever you want. You know, that's a juxtaposition. It's basically like, he tells her that he has, like, a lot of rulers, or all of the rulers before him, had a bunch of children, and then they made the children kill each other, and the strongest became the next ruler. And he became the next ruler without killing anybody because he was born with a flare, which I forgot what that was. I think the teleportation or whatever, I don't remember. I don't remember what's special about him. And then it's like, she realizes, oh my god, he has nobody but me. I'm the only person he can trust. And he says this, he's like, I only have you, I only love you, I can only be with you, I don't trust anybody but you. Very much like, because he's pictured to be a your body, your choice, or just your choice. Everything is your choice. He respects all of her wishes, but he's like low-key manipulating her in a sense of like, he's so lonely without anybody there. He doesn't have friends, he doesn't have family. He can only trust Isla, and then she's like, oh, I feel bad for him. And it's like, yeah, because he's manipulating you. Like, what are we doing? They fuck, and I'm gonna read it out to you so you know what that reads like, because this is a YA book, but it's like low-key explicit. He went in and in and in until she couldn't think around the pressure, couldn't breathe around it. And then he sighed against the crown of her head, and she groaned as he reached a place that made her spine feel like a bolt of lightning. On the wedding night, he had broken all the windows. We love Ekotar. We can't think of anything ourselves. Nothing is original anymore. Yeah. Then we get the big reveal, 70%. And as I mentioned, around 70% is where all of this happens. Basically, there have been graves unearthed. And people were trying to figure out who this was, and bones have gone missing. The night where she's trying to make her new rune, which I mentioned earlier, that takes a toll on her body, she passes out while making the rune. And the next morning when she wakes up, people come to her and they're like, a whole village was destroyed yet again. Ugh, can we think of something new being destroyed? Her cousin is like, oh my god, it was her. And everyone's like, why do you say that? And then the cousin is like, well, the people that survived said that the person who destroyed the village looked like Isla. And so everyone's like, oh my god, what's going on? And you're gonna think like this is gonna be a proper mystery and we're gonna try to figure out what's going on. No. Next chapter, it's revealed it's the person who created Lightlark called Lark. Can you keep up? Lark has been alive for centuries under the island, powering it, because she was trapped there by someone with a C name, Cornichon or something, I don't know. I don't remember his name. The Nightshade dude that created a Nightshade line. He trapped her and is powering the island, or made her power the island. And she's just been living underneath the earth, trapped. And she's also the one that was riding Isla with the feather. because she thought it was Aurora, but it was her. Doesn't matter, actually. There's no point in this. And so it wasn't Isla for like 2 weeks in the book. She thinks it was her. She's like, what if it was me? What if it was me? And I passed out and maybe I did it. And then they figure out like the next chapter, it's Lark, because she reveals herself to Isla. And she's like, gang, what's up? I need you to destroy the island and create it anew. And there is no reason why she wants to do it. Like, maybe there is a reason she wants to do this, but I don't know that reason. She is going off of vibes only. Vibe check, failed. Their plan is now to get her back into the other world where Cornichon is. So she's gone and doesn't threaten them anymore. So she visits Oro because in Oro's realm in Lightlark, there are notes hidden that she needs to find the portal or to open the portal or whatever. So she can send Lark back, but she doesn't tell Oro this. So she just breaks into his realm after she broke up with him and was like, I love Grimm, whatever. They had a little bit of a fight. She visits him. And then he's like, what are you doing here? She explains it to him. He's like, okay, I cannot trust you with this alone. I'm gonna come with you. They have to make this random ass trip through a desert, but it's like in a castle, there's a desert. And then they make it through the desert and try to get these pages of the prophet because he wrote it down. And I don't even know if they get them. They steal a bone from a dead dude. I think that was the king. There were 3 people who created Lightlark, and he was one of them. So we have Lark, Cornichon, and that dude. And he's in the tomb, and he has a bone in his hand. So she takes the bone, and then he disintegrates. So he's dead. He's out of it. But do they get the letter? Do they get the... I don't even think they get the notes. Or maybe the bone is the note. I have no idea. Anyway, the only exciting part that happens here is the fact that literally before this, she had been fucking Grimm for 2 weeks straight. Not thinking of Oro, not feeling any fucking guilt, right? She comes to Oro to get these fucking notes. There's a what's the other a sandstorm, not a snowstorm. There's a sandstorm. Allegedly, this sand makes her delirious. They have to take shelter in some kind of structure that's in the middle of the desert. There's nothing there, just desert, but there's a structure all of a sudden. They take shelter in it, and she gets super horny. She gets super duper horny. Oro kind of goes along with it, like Loki, like, how do you say, plays the fiddle a little bit. And then he's like, no, I can't do this. Like, you're delirious from it. Just take a nap and stuff like that. And so then, for some reason, Alex Esther decided to have Isla have a dream after for 2 weeks straight. Fucking Grimm, literally. No break. Day and night. Have her have a sex dream about Oro moaning his name in her sleep. How does this make sense? The entire book was focusing on Grimm and her being in love with Grimm, and her kind of forgiving him, her forgiving herself, whatever, I don't know, everybody forgiving each other. And now in the last 30% of the book, she tries to put Oro, who nobody gives a single fuck about. This is not a love triangle. I don't know how she's trying to, I don't know how she's getting away with this. She puts him back in, she makes her have a sex dream about him, and then it's all of a sudden like she starts having these weird tantrums again about, but my heart is split in two. I love both of you. I can't decide. I love both of you equally. No, you don't, bitch. Who are you lying to? We have it read, comma, bones hold more power than blood. The most powerful runes, they use the word skyrus or skiers. Skier? I don't know how to say it, so I just used runes. Must be formed with them. But it's written in a weird way. It says it read, comma, and then it's just normal text. Which is like, is that a formatting? I don't get it, what she's trying to do. They figure out that the portal is in a maze that nullifies power, and in that maze is the tomb of Cornichon, that grave is empty because he's in the other world, as it turns out. But everybody thought it was in there. She goes, the portal is the coffin. It's empty. His flare was portaling. Bones hold more power than blood. I think ... I think his bones became the portal. Okay, so now we know where the portal is. So we need to get Lark back in there, right? Okay, then... Oh yeah, this actually happened before that. I told you she thought she destroyed the village before she knew it was Lark, that Lark was still alive. And this is what I mean when that she goes like crazy with this family shit. She goes, she meant Isla. Her blood went cold, then boiled. How could Asteria accuse her of such a thing? Did the fact that they were family mean nothing to her? Bitch, why would she give a fuck? If you whipped out that fuck ass village, I don't care. Why the fuck would she care? She's known you for like 2 weeks. She also goes, part of Isla was relieved. All those times she had felt so alone, she wasn't. She had Wildling family. She had someone who knew what it was like, having these uncontrollable powers. she's happy that Lark is there, trying to destroy the entire fucking realm. And by the way, she's very mad at Oro and at Grimm because they both knew that Lark was alive. I'm so sorry if this is confusing to you, because it's also confusing to me, but this is at the end of the book, I didn't give a fuck anymore. They knew she was alive, and then she gets mad at both of them because they kept this from her. And she's like, that is my family, and you didn't tell me she was alive. What you have fucking done? That is like your grandma from fucking centuries ago. Who gives a fuck? Huh? Maybe it could have like come across correctly the way Alex Essa wanted it to come across, but it didn't, because she didn't explore Isla's feelings in depth. All of her decisions and thoughts feel very randomized, you know? It's like she just felt like she should say that in that moment, but it doesn't fit, because why the fuck does she give a fuck? That's her family. It's not that deep. Then we have them going to get the bone that I just mentioned. I'm just going through my marks right now. And then she asks Oro, what is this place? He says it's a tomb. Page, it was a tomb. Girl, I know! I just read it! Do you think I'm fucking stupid? Did she forget? Does she really have an editor for this? I know it's a tomb. He just said it. I was there. She goes to visit Remulus Lupin, I don't know, some Valyrian dude that was in the first book that is of a tribe that wasn't further explored and is not further explored now. She visits him, asks him about Lark. He says, I've known all this time. I don't know why she didn't talk to him. I don't know. He seems like ancient. I don't know why she didn't talk to all of the elders before. And he tells her, Isla Crown, bring the gods to their knees. I don't think she will. I think she's only going to give a BJ. Lark can't be killed. She has to be cursed. And he made a curse to curse her. And so, it's so confusing, guys. He made a curse. The next chapter after this conversation, they go to execute this curse. There is no time in between. They're not gathering armies. They apparently don't have the time. But this was already an issue when they went into the desert. And then she says that they were in the desert for days/weeks. So it's like, what is the urgency? I'm confused on the timeline. Somebody has to analyze this. It's not gonna be me. Anyway, she has a conversation with this dude who's like, I know all of these things. I can make a curse. He makes a curse, gives it to her. The next chapter, literally, basically the next page, they go to execute the curse. It doesn't work. They're like so confused. They're like, why isn't the curse working? Turns out the curse was bound to the life of this creature, and Lark just killed him. Lark has killed this dude. We literally just had a conversation with him last chapter. It like ended on a line of his. Now he's dead. Where's the transition period? What are we doing? Why is it so quick all of a sudden? It's so rushed. The ending feels very, very rushed. I have to say, it's a lot of information that gets thrown at you. And she always does this, and it's super confusing because it's like, I was really trying to keep up for you guys, but I just couldn't, and I couldn't bother anymore. She then goes to confront the two bitches she locked up, right? Her friends, because she didn't ask them, oh, did you do all of this? Because Lark did it, but she thought they were responsible for being a traitor. Anyway, they're like, no, we didn't do it. And then she's like, okay, I believe you now because I have my power back. And then they say, I don't know what they say, I don't even care anymore. Okay, we're almost at the very end, but I have to mention very important things again, yet again, why I don't get why this is a love triangle. When she is in the desert with Oro and she comes back, she summons Grimm. It doesn't really matter the timeline, but basically Oro is dying. He has a sword in his heart and he's bleeding out, he's dying, right? She tries to save him. She's low-key a little bit concerned, like on the low, she's like, yeah, that would suck if you died right now, like I don't really want you to die, but she's not freaking out, she's not freaking out at all. And then, I think it's later after that, she all of a sudden cannot use Grimm's powers anymore, and so she thinks he's dead. Or something happened to him, you know, because usually she can use his power, and that connection is not there anymore. She has the mental breakdown of the mental breakdowns in this entire book. She starts figuring out, she's like, Grimm, where's Grimm? I need him, where's my Grimmy? Grill's shake. Oh my god, you know, remember that? Ugh, terrible time. Oro was literally dying on the floor in front of her. She did not give a fuck. She low-key wanted to let him die. Grimm, she can't feel his power. She freaks the fuck out. If you know she is going to be endgame with one of your mans that you're writing, Why are you dragging it on and on and on? I'm sorry. And I feel like if I really was into this series, like genuinely as a fan, I would be so fucking annoyed. I wouldn't even be happy that there's another book coming. I would be fucking annoyed. You know what I mean? Usually I don't think it's a bad thing when people don't say how many books their series is going to be. I actually think it's a good thing because it keeps the stakes high. Proof Alex S is writing, there are no stakes to begin with. Because when you don't know, is this going to be the last book? Is there going to be another book? You're actually worried for what's going to happen to the characters, right? But with this one, everyone was thinking this was going to be the last book. And it would have been fine. She reads a letter by her father that he left behind. And he confesses to her that her mother could see the future. And so they knew they were going to die and never meet her. But it was worth it for her. And you know how they fucking die? I giggled. Isla was so powerful when she was born. Her first cry broke down the castle and squished their parents to death. Her parents, not their parents. Her parents to death. Because her cry was so powerful. Okay. And it makes me wonder, if they saw the future, why didn't they leave? Why didn't they take precaution? It then turns out that her power is basically, whenever she kills somebody, she takes their power. She absorbs it into herself, and that's how she stacks up power, which is kind of ties into the fact that, like, the more people she kills, the more power she has. And so I don't know about the future seeing one, because her mom could see the future. Why she can't see the future if she's just never tried. She hasn't tried enough. That's what's confessed to her in that letter. I don't give a fuck. I don't even know her dad's name. Then the end of the book, we have Oro's perspective for one chapter, then Isla's again. And then we have Grimm's. It ends on Grimm. But basically, it goes, the prophet scroll says, to go to another world, I must know its name. But it's been forgotten. The other world's name, ... was Sky Shade, which is what's the title of this book. Anyway, the last chapter is 3 pages long. It turns out that Isla battled Lark herself and tried to shove her into the portal in the maze. And in order to do that, she decided to just go into the portal herself too. Which I thought I think it's a different portal. If she goes into a different portal, people are gonna die. Yeah, anyway, the book ends on Grimm realizing that Isla went into the portal also, into the other world called Sky Shade. And I think the portal closing behind her. So now we have the situation of Grimm and Oro are both still alive. She hasn't chosen yet, which she has, in my opinion. She is in the other world with Lark, the evil Lark, and Cornjawn, and she's gonna face the horrors of the other world, and they have to get her back. The end. Guys, I don't know what happened in the end. It was really convoluted and very messy. I think, I was gonna say writing action is just not her strong suit, but I think writing is just not her strong suit. Again, I don't think this book series needs another novel in it. People are saying it's going to be 2. The way she announced it, genuinely, you can go watch it yourself. It sounds like it's going to be another novel in the series and then something else. Doesn't sound like because she said both are coming out next year. How many books do you want to fucking release? Ugh, I have to charge my phone. It's genuinely, I've been sitting here for hours. I feel like giving up. I mean, if we're now reflecting on this entire video and what I was telling you about, I don't know why it's so long, because I feel like there wasn't enough happening. I mean, I told you every single thing that happened, but at the end of the day, books like this make you feel like reading is pointless. You know what I mean? The things you're reading, what are they? What was I made for? She goes from one thing to the next, trying to find one person, trying to find another relic. At no point did I feel like anybody important was gonna die, and nobody did. One side character dies, the bitch that gives her the snakes, but I don't even remember her name, and I also don't know if we should have cared. The thing is, maybe she should have stuck with a duology. I think that this is not profitable for her own development. That was nicely said. Dragging this on and on, I can only imagine that it's because money. Like, that's my personal opinion. There's no other reason. These books are not well written. I don't know if she has a bunch of yes men around her or how big, allegedly, in my opinion, in Minecraft, her family's influence is in it. The fact that she gets to publish whatever the fuck she wants. Money can buy you a lot of things. I'm not saying that she is, because at the end of the day, I also don't know. But the marketing is so odd to me that she gets to go on Good Morning America. This bitch did not care about Aura. She did not care about Team Aura or Team Grimm. She was probably like, who the fuck am I talking to? What the fuck is this? Give me the real stars. I felt Good Morning America was like a big deal, you know what I mean? I felt like, isn't that where Fergie was like, whoa, whoa, doing the cartwheels? I thought so. Hello. I don't know, I'm just gonna finish it like this. I watched the Good Morning America clip and she even gave some movie news, which is surprising to me because she didn't post those on her page, and I feel like she should, or she would've. Like, what's holding you back, queen? Anyway, she said that there's a script, because as we know, it's being made into a movie by the makers of Twilight. There's a script. And she said that there's gonna be more news next year. And the interviewer, as you saw, she was like, oh my god, that's so exciting. She don't give a fuck. I'm so excited to see if they actually go through with it. I wouldn't be that surprised, honestly, with all of the things that have happened regarding the series, with all the money flowing into it, that's coming from a source that I don't know, that I can only speculate on. I feel like it's possible, you know what I mean? I did post a Goodreads review. I said Alex Astor has said herself she can't picture things in her head when writing and reading. No, when reading and writing. I have to get it right. And this book proves that 10,000%. So go like my review, leave a like, leave a comment. You guys let me know what you think. I posted on my German TikTok asking the Germans what they thought about it, and low-key every comment was like, I love these books, they're so good, I love reading them. But I was like, oh my god, am I the problem? Am I the drama? Obviously I am, but I didn't think that so many people were gonna say I actually love the books, which is good for you, but it's just like maybe they're better in German because there are German translations, I figured. And I didn't know that before, and maybe in translation it got better. That could be a case. That could be the case. You guys let me know what you thought about this book, if you read it, about the series. Let me know if you've ever even read a singular Lightlark book, or if you've only ever watched like videos about it. I will be reading the 4th book. I will be reading the 5th book, which I assume is not... I just, from the way she was talking about it, I don't think it's going to be a full novel. I don't know, you can let me know what you think. I will be watching the movie. I will be reading her other book. I will be following everything Alex Astor does, because you are. I don't even know where I'm looking. I don't know where the camera is. Love you guys so much. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram, on Goodreads. I love you. And I appreciate you. And thank you to my members. And I think I deserve a big fat sleep. I hope you stay happy, you stay healthy. Peace and love. And hopefully, I'll see you in my next video.